When I uploaded my last video, I was pretty sure my take on the changes to weapons and grounded was shared by many. What I wasn't expecting was the overwhelming agreement. Going through the comments on that video, as well as other places it was shared, the near universal opinion was these changes are unwanted, and for some may be the tipping point for taking a long break from the game, or worse yet, quitting it altogether. While I'm not even close to the latter, I'm not motivated to really put much more time into Grounded right now, other than to record some videos over the next few weeks and after the update releases. This could change, however. In this video, I'm going to go through all the major changes in this new update and provide suggestions for how to rebalance those that are taking away the enjoyment many had with the game prior to this update. Before we begin, I want to thank all my channel members, especially the Overseer91 and Grey Knight who help make videos like this possible. Let's get started. Alright, so what I want to do in this video is, of course, I'm going to talk a lot about the combat changes and the changes to weapon upgrades and stuff like that. I am going to talk about that in just a minute, but what I want to do real quick is I want to scroll through the patch notes and just touch upon the main points, the main big changes, give my opinions on them, talk about the things I like, and also talk about the things that I think could use some changes. So first thing is in here is going to be the new environments. Now, for me personally, the new environments are my absolute, hands down, no questions, not even a contest, favorite part of the new update. I love what they did with the upper backyard. I like the fact that they have the charcoal spill, adding a new area where there's sizzling effect. I like the fact that they put all those caverns in there with the different creatures in it. I like that they put the wood pile in with a tarp on top of it. Even though mosquitoes are my least liked insect in the entire game, I think it's cool that there's mosquitoes up there. Of course, there's wolf spiders as well. And I like all that. They also had, at least right when the public test server came out, there were new spiderlings under there called black widowlings under the tarp. So they are now not in the game anymore, at least from what I've seen. I think they've been patched out, so I'm not sure if they weren't supposed to be in there. But it looks like they might add a black widow spider under the tarp, which would be cool. So I don't know if that's in the works, but the fact that there were black widowlings would lead me to believe there might be a black widow spider, whether it's just a one-off spider that's in there or if it's a new spider boss or something like that. I don't know, but I thought that was cool. So the whole new area, the upper part of the backyard, is what I really liked. And that, like I said, it's my favorite part. And they always do a fantastic job with terraforming. So I know in some of my videos I've been critical about some of the things, but I do give them credit. They're really good at terraforming the map, making the map look really cool, giving unique features to it, and making it feel like when you go into the new area for the first time, it just feels like a great experience, and it's just like something new each time. So now let's move on to the new bugs. So it says there's 10 new bugs here. We're just going to go through each one of them really quickly. The termites and the soldier termites, of course we knew they were coming because they were leaked in, or they were teased in a trailer back in December. Already talked about that in other videos. What I like about the termites is they do drop unique resources. They are a new bug. They are really just reskins of the of the ants. So the regular worker ants and the soldier ants. They pretty much, from what I've seen, have the exact same attack patterns, which was kind of disappointing. The only thing that's unique about them is they do, I think the workers spit some kind of bodily fluid at you or something like that that gives you debuffs causes debuffs to your character. So that's unique. There are a ton of them in there in the woodpile area that they added. However, in my opinion, they were kind of weak. Although I don't really know if they buff the termites too much, then it will be too much of a chore. I have seen people saying, especially on WoW mode, going through there, that they're getting, and we'll talk about this later, they're burning through their weapons and gear because there's so many of them. On medium mode, it was kind of a breeze, and so that's that. The one thing that's not mentioned on here is there is a termite king. So the termite king is like a little mini boss. Now, when I went through and fought him, he was like super easy. They have since patched it and made him tougher. I was watching Original Ryan try to fight him, and it did take him a couple tries to fight him because they have made him much more beefy. He did look like a little bit of a pushover at the beginning, but he has some attacks that can really do some damage to you. So I like the fact that they buffed him. One thing that was also added was he does drop a unique part now, which you're going to need to make the termite armor chest piece, which we'll talk about in a second. So I like the fact that the termites all drop unique parts that are brand new. That's a big thing. Next up is the ladybug larva. They are getting real close to contesting with the mosquito for things that annoy me in the game. I absolutely hate these things. There's way too many of them. They are basically just larvae that have different coloring. So they're reskinned larvae, and they do more damage, and they have more HP. I think they have different attack patterns, although I don't know because it's been so long since I actually fought a larva legit, because prior to this update, you could just kill larvas in one hit. So they do have these things, the attack pattern where they back up and move around and stuff like that and charge at you. And like I said, they may or may not be the same as the other larvas. I just don't know because I killed the old larvas so fast. But the fact that there's so many of them and that they only drop larva parts was super disappointing. I think one thing they could do with this, and of course with any of the new insects, is they should drop some kind of unique part. I know they said or a mod said in their Discord that, and because I asked this, I said, why are there new bugs that drop old parts? And the mod said that people asked for this. Now, I'm not sure who asked for this. I don't remember seeing it. Of course, I can't keep up with all the suggestions that happen. But who in God's earth, who would want to have stronger enemies that drop the same resources as weaker enemies? Makes absolutely zero sense. There's literally no reason to fight these guys because you can just go fight the regular larvas and get the same resources. They probably drop a little bit more. And I think most of the new bugs maybe drop the bug gloop, stuff like that. But going through the termite lair, you're going to get a stack of bug gloop. So whatever. And you can just fight the other new insects we're going to talk about in a second to get that. So to me right now, the ladybug larva, what they would need to do for me to make me feel like they make sense in the game is to have them drop a unique resource. And I think the thing that would make the most sense would be to have them drop a resource that would let us make like a larva dagger or probably a larva dagger. I would say a larva dagger. Make it a larva dagger because there's no tier 3 dagger. So make a tier 3 dagger that has that the larva drop. And in fact, maybe because they cause the sizzling effect if you're not wearing the antlion armor, maybe the dagger has an innate ability that causes sizzling effect on creatures that you hit it with. So maybe it just sizzles them and burns them a little bit, doing a little bit extra damage, kind of like how the daggers currently, or if you use assassin, it does like damage over time with the bleed effect and stuff like that. Next up is going to be the ladybird. The ladybird is basically a reskin of the ladybug, except it has more HP. They are aggressive, so if they see you, they will attack. And they have more HP, so they do more damage and have more HP. They're basically a beefier version of ladybugs. Of course, when I killed the first one, I was super disappointed because they dropped ladybug heads and ladybug parts. And I was like, why are these in the game? Because they basically drop the same resources. So how could this be fixed? They should drop ladybird parts. So like ladybird head, ladybird parts, which could be used to make ladybird armor, which would basically be the enhanced ladybug armor. So it basically could have the exact same properties as ladybug armor, except could have more defense, and maybe it has the Scarlet Embrace has a higher buff or something. It could have a different, I would like to just be like a tier 2 version of the ladybug armor. So just make it, you have ladybug armor currently, make the ladybird armor a level above that so that it has more defense and gives you maybe, even if it just has more defense, I'd be fine with that. If it did, and it also should have Scarlet Embrace, so basically have the same set bonus, and maybe have the Scarlet Embrace be enhanced, but I'd be cool with it just being like, maybe it could be like the old Ladybug armor, where it gives you Scarlet Embrace more often, although that might be too OP, but just having it be Ladybird armor would be cool. Black Ox Beetle, absolutely love this thing. It has a unique model, looks different than all the other insects in the game. They can be tough if you don't know how to fight them, because their charge attack will do a ton of damage to you, and in certain situations they can one-shot you, so got to be careful with them. I love the fact that they added them. They drop unique parts. There's only 3 of them on the map right now. And the fact that they don't always drop the horn was kind of annoying because I had to wait 2 days and kill 6 of them just to get a horn to make I think it's the Black Ox Hammer that requires it. So I guess I'm okay with that, but I do love the Black Ox Beetles. Fantastic addition. Roly-polies, they're not sickly. No issue with that. They said they were going to add them. It's cool. They basically are the same as the sickly roly-polies, except they have more HP, and I think maybe they do more damage. I don't know, because I killed a couple of them and didn't really have any trouble with it. Now, the issue here is that the sickly roly-polies drop the same parts as the regular roly-polies, so not really seeing much incentive on fighting the new ones if you can just go fight the old ones to get the resources to make the roly-poly armor, so they might have to do something about that. Green Shield Bug, when it initially released, was super disappointing because it's basically just a stink bug with a HP bar that covers the entire screen. I thought it was almost a boss. It was super easy to kill, though, because you can just stand on the cap gun and cheese it with a bow, because I'm pretty sure it's weak to arrows like stink bugs are. They have since patched it, and it does drop a unique resource, and I was anxious to go see what that was, so as soon as I saw that update yesterday, I ran over and I killed the Green Shield Bug, and I picked up its resources, and lo and behold, I got, I think it was a super stink sack or something like that, and it's used to make super stink arrows or something like that, so that was super disappointing. I really thought they were going to let this thing drop resources for a tier 3 shield. It's called a shield bug, so why wouldn't it drop why wouldn't it drop parts to make a shield? The stink arrows they have like a massive AoE from the gas cloud, and they are decent, but they're also made with splinter arrows, which are super expensive to craft. So all in all, I like the fact that they added a resource that it drops that's unique, but I would much rather it be for a shield, and yeah, that's pretty much that. Dust mites, cool. It's still kind of weird to me that the dust mites are actually the dust mites, because when I first said they look like dust mites, they look exactly like them, and then I did a little bit more research and realized that dust mites are actually microscopic. So maybe they're going to explain that in the story later on, that they got enlarged by some kind of ray or whatever ray that shrunk the kids that are in the game. I'm okay with the dust mites. The fact that they do range damage that damages your armor is maybe that needs to be tuned down a little bit, because if you go up on there, if you go up on the little doormat and try to fight all these guys, your armor's going to get completely wrecked, even if they never actually hit you. Just their little dust cloud just destroys your armor, which is like, whatever. Scarabs are a pain in the butt to farm, and I'm going to talk about scarabs later on. I do like the fact that they added them. They're cool looking. They have a unique mechanic where if you don't kill them, they run away, which we're going to talk about later. Infected wolf spider, I absolutely hate this thing, but I love it at the same time. It's a tougher to fight enemy, which is cool. It's different than the other spiders in that what I've seen so far is that it has different weaknesses than the other spiders, which is cool. What I don't like about it is the fact that it's the ones at the freaking oak tree lab. Like, why is it at the oak tree lab where everybody has to go all the time? Why not have it be the one that's in the haze where the other infected things are? And it's basically, for me, it's giving me, it gives even less reason to turn off the haze, because if you don't want to have to deal with them, then just don't turn off the haze. And as of right now, because we're not forced to turn it off, there's only one downside not to turning off the haze, which we'll talk about. I guess we can just talk about it now. If you don't turn off the haze, as far as I've seen, there's no burweeds on the map. You need burweeds to make the new tier 3, or the new higher, the better floors. The new floors, the burr floors they look really cool. Now, why they were added, I don't know. Maybe they're setting it up for base raids, which I really wanted, but we didn't get yet. So I like the idea of having higher tier building materials like that. The fact that I can, so far, maybe I'm wrong, maybe there's a spot I missed, but I checked the whole map and couldn't find one the other day in like 3 hours. Having to turn off the haze to get the burweeds, I don't like that. I think the burweeds should just be either in the haze, so you have to actually go in and farm them, or right on the edge of the haze, or maybe there's some dead plants around the map that have them. I don't think you should have to turn off the haze, because the trade-offs are really not that great right now. You're going to get an infected wolf spider, you're going to have infected insects all over the place, you're going to have the strange spores all over the place, and you get burweeds. So, and I guess you can you can travel the haze more safely, because you're not going to have to worry about having to wear a gas mask. But to be honest, the resources in the haze area, to me, are just not worth going into right now. So moving on, termite axe, black ox hammer. Love both of these. Was fully expecting to get these at some point, at least a tier 3 version of an axe and a hammer. They look cool. They have their functions. Although I don't know what the black ox hammer is really going to be used for right now, because I think they actually changed. The only thing I saw it being used for was to break the charcoal chunk to get the recipe for the new weapon. But when I went into a creative world and went in there, the weapon was just sticking out of the charcoal chunk with a node on it. So I don't even know if you need it for that anymore. So I'm not sure what that's needed for, although it is a better hammer, so it's going to do more damage than the other hammers. Although they also did nerf the stun damage of hammers. Termite chest armor. I like that they added new armor. I like the fact that they patched it after the initial public test server came out, and now you have to kill the Termite King in order to get this. What I don't understand, and maybe it's going to change in the next week or two, is why is it not a full set of armor? Also, the bonus for it is like faster rock and grass harvesting, which makes, I don't know, do termites eat grass? To me, termites eat wood, so to me it makes absolutely no sense why it's faster grass and rock harvesting. I don't know. But I mean, at least it's a different perk or bonus, so I guess I'm okay with that. But it just needs to be a full set, because the one-off pieces just don't make any sense to me. Splinter arrows, tier 3, was fully expecting to get better arrows at some point. What I don't understand is why the game needs to have how much damage the arrows do. Right now, I know that the basic arrows do whatever damage is shown on your bow, and I believe the feather arrows do maybe like 20 or 30% more damage. I don't know, because it's really hard to test it, because we don't know how much HP the bugs have. There's just bars in the game that show you how much damage things do. So it's really hard to tell. Splinter arrows, I didn't do any testing on them yet, but I did see someone post on the ground at Discord. It looked like the splinter arrows were doing the exact same damage as the feather arrows, so like, what's the point in crafting them? The new secret weapon is, and I've joked about this is like a meme where it says, there's a picture of two things that look exactly the same, and it says, tell me the difference. There is no difference. The new secret weapon, the Coltana, is a absolute 100% reskin of the Antlion Greatsword, except it's spicy. Now, everybody made spicy Antlion Greatswords before because they were the best weapon in the game, so they basically just added that weapon in. Now, it will do slightly more damage, because when you upgrade it, it has to go the Mighty Path, so it's going to do a little bit more damage than a spicy Antlion Greatsword, but it's essentially the same weapon, except it's more expensive to craft it, and it's probably going to, I don't know what the repair costs are, because I didn't upgrade it all the way. I don't understand why the new secret weapon wasn't a spear or a dagger, because we already have a tier 3 sword. I don't know why they keep, and it's also a complete reskin with the exact same stats. Like, it doesn't even have different stats, so I was kind of disappointed in that. We talked about the burweed floors. They look cool. Hopefully they're setting up for base raids in the future. I'm not a big person on meals. The new black ox burger, cool, but it's super expensive to make. I think you're going to end up having to kill like maybe at least one Black Ox, maybe two in order to make it. I can't remember exactly. Survey stations were a cool update. They allow you to scan for resources. I'm not exactly sure how they're unlocked because I didn't start over. I just continued my save. I think you have to unlock. I don't know. You'll have to let me know in the comments down below. Maybe I'll start a new game. I'm going to start a new game at some point just to check it out. But I don't know how they're unlocked. So they do let you scan for resources, which is cool. You can place a waypoint on a map, which is obviously cool because if you're playing multiplayer or you just want to go somewhere, you can place that waypoint. That's pretty cool. Custom game options. I like the fact that they did this because now people can customize their game. I never have any issues with customization. Peeper mode, I don't, honestly, this is like cool feature. I don't think I'm ever going to really use it. The fact that you can place a waypoint, I do like that. Building customizations, these things to me, this is where I'm going to be really harsh. The building customizations were an absolute complete waste of dev time. Like, this is one of the things that really ticks me off. Nobody cares about being able to bounce on webs on an angle. I can't say nobody because somebody probably does, but like in the grand scheme of things, these are things that could have been added at the end of the game after 1.0 or right before 1.0 as last minute polishes. Who cares about armor dummy poses? Who cares about changing the color of your lights? I guess the people that build in the game, and honestly, maybe that's the majority of the people that play the game. Maybe most people aren't like me or like the audience that watches my videos or watches my streams or consumes my content. Me and my community play the game for the survival aspect. There are people that build, which is fine. I don't mind building. I like building. It's fun. But if I go over to the Reddit for Grounded, it's like 90% of the posts are people building stuff. So maybe they're just trying to appease those people like the Minecraft kids that all they care about is building stuff and creative. And that's fantastic. But this kind of stuff to me should have been pushed down the road in order to get better things in, like things that would make replayability, like have the game be more replayable, like base raids. Data tab. Great that they added all that. The one thing that's missing, and they did talk about it in the dev live stream, so I don't expect it to come in this update, but it'll probably be in the next update. I'd really be happy if it came in this update. They're going to add some kind of like Insectopedia or Bugopedia, something like that, where you can actually see what the bug strengths and weaknesses are and all that kind of stuff. So I'm really looking forward to that. I would have much rather them spent time on that than these other things up here, but I don't know what developers are working on what. So I do like the fact that they upgraded. They're making the UI better, which is definitely cool. Status effects on the screen, awesome. Was definitely looking forward to that. So now you have like little just icons in the bottom corner down by your health bar, by the little scab thing where it says your health and stamina and hunger and thirst and stuff. That'll show you the status you have. When you go into your backpack or your inventory, it'll actually show you what they are as well, so you can see them. That's an awesome change. I love to see that. These features, so these are just quality of life for languages, fine. Craft many, love this. Now you can craft multiple items in a backpack, or you can craft multiple items at once. That's fantastic. Copy and place building, I don't really care about that. Storage hot deposit, good. Achievements added. For those that like achievements, great. Although I don't even, it says they're not available in the Steam public test build, but I haven't unlocked any on the Game Pass version of it, so I don't even know if these are active yet. Maybe I just haven't found them. We can skip through most of this stuff. Mutations. Some people dislike this. I actually thought this made sense. Blade Master no longer repairs the durability of swords. Now reduces the stamina cost of the next several attacks when procced. This app makes absolute sense because, let's be honest, being able to use the Antlion Greatsword and having this one and basically having it repair, never have to repair it, and having an OP weapon was just super broken. It also didn't fit with the other mutations. And I think what would actually make sense would be to have Weapon Master as a new mutation where, so I like how Blade Master is now, but we could have Weapon Master be the old Blade Master, and the only way to unlock it would be to unlock tier 3 of all the other weapon things. So like Javelineer, Blade Master, what is it, Smasher, all the other, whatever, the Chopper, all those. Once you get those to tier 3, that will give you like a long-term goal. You unlock tier 3 all those, then you get Weapon Master, which is a new mutation that would repair the durability of all weapons. I think that would be a good long-term thing to grind towards, and it would give people a reason to play. Javelineer no longer slows enemies, now reduces damage resist when proc. So basically what this means is you're going to hit them, and then each additional hit, they're going to take more damage than they normally would. I like that too, because most of the weapon mutations were revolved around slowing, stopping, stuff like that. So the fact that they changed this one, I like that. Accessibility, cool. Got to make, I like this is fine. All these things are fine for making it easier for people that need this stuff to play the game. That's fine. Combat. This is going to be the big part. So I hate the new combat system, and I'm not alone here. I put the video out about the combat system, the new weapon upgrade system, lump them all into one. I was kind of expecting most of the people, because when I was talking about it on my stream, most of the people agreed with me. There were a few people that were like, they were like, oh, it's okay. But when I posted the video, my last video, and I started going through the comments, and probably I can count on one hand, like maybe 1, 2, or 3 of them were not against the new combat system. Literally everybody is against the new combat, weapon upgrade, durability thing. So we're going to spend some time on this right now, and I did put together some. So basically what I did was I kind of put together some pictures of the changes I would recommend. So first thing first, let's just go through them. First attack of a weapon combo does the least amount of damage. Okay. Combo finishers deal the most damage. That makes sense, because if you hit an enemy, like think about it like realistically. I know this is a video game. Realistically, if I hit you with something, or if you're playing a game, you hit something with something, it's now going to be it's not going to be able to defend itself as best, so each additional hit should do more damage. I'm cool with that. Overall DPS of a full combo is the same. Instead of a 3-hit combo doing 100, 100, 100, now it deals 50, 100, 150. I hate this. This is actually stupid. Like, this is really stupid, because when I look at a weapon and it tells me it's going to do 5 damage, this is telling me the first hit's going to do 2.5. That makes absolutely no sense to me. The first number should be 100. So if they want to make it where, let's say a weapon, they want the first hit for the weapon to do they want it to, okay, we can actually talk about this right now, because it's not even mentioned in here. The reason they did this was because people are abusing block canceling. There is a solution to this where they didn't have to do any of this, which was remove block canceling. If you're not familiar, block canceling means you swing your weapon, hit block, then cancel it, and then go back and swing your weapon again. It's very easy to do on mouse and it's very easy to do with a mouse. I'm sure it's probably equally easy to do with a controller. I play on mouse and keyboard. I can just sit there and spam my weapons, which would not drain my stamina as much, if at all, get multiple hits in, which was ridiculous. So getting rid of block canceling would have solved all this. I don't know if that's not, maybe it's not technically possible. If it's technically possible, undo what you did here and just get rid of block canceling. That would make sense. If it's not technically possible, or even if it is and you do it, I think the better idea here would be to make it 100 for the first hit, maybe 115 and then 135. So it still adds up to the 250, but your first hit is doing the damage shown on your weapon. If you don't want the weapon to do the 5 damage, then make the first hit 4 damage or something, so it's doing less. But the first number should equal whatever the weapon shows in your inventory when you look at the UI. Having it be half is just going to make it confusing. And then what this also does, these changes, they changed some of the armor. So my favorite armor was the spider armor. One of my other favorites was probably going to be the antlion armor, just because it had more defense. They made both of those medium, so now they drain your stamina faster. So what they've done is they've made these changes are forcing you to do a combos, which is okay. I'm fine with that. It does change combat a little bit, but at the same time, it's also making the entire focus on your combat is now stamina. It's just stamina management. It's not block. It's stamina management. You're just having to manage your stamina even more, which is one of the least desirable things that people. It's one of the things most people do not like about survival games, is when you're having to constantly manage your stamina, and that's the only thing you're looking at. And I really think the first number should be 100. It should be 100, 115, 135. That adds up to the 150. You're getting rewarded for each additional hit, but I want that first number to show me whatever the damage is in my UI. Hammers have 3-hit combo. Okay, makes sense. All weapon types have damage curve. So they did change some of the weapons. Shields no longer movement speed. Reduce the movement penalty for moving backwards. Crow arrows now apply damage over time. Of course, we have no idea how much the feather arrows do how much extra damage they do, nor do we know what this damage over time is. That's the kind of information we need. We shouldn't have to be guessing, because honestly, most of the damage over time in this game are kind of weak. But this whole thing with all the weapon types have had a damage curve. So essentially what they did in this update was they nerfed the base damage of most of the weapons. They lowered the swing speed for some of them. They reduced the durability, because when you upgrade now, you get less extra damage and less durability. And it's also more expensive to craft, to upgrade them, and to repair them. So they essentially nerfed weapons and combat in every single way. It's also more drain on your stamina, because now there's fewer, the most common armors that were light armors that are not light armors anymore. And everything just drains more stamina because you're having to do these combos. So overall, I'm just not a fan of the combat. I would have much rather seen them do something like make the insects have each insect having just a bunch of different unique attacks, so you actually had to block, reward perfect blocking more, stuff like that. So we're going to get to the weapon stuff in just a second. Let's go through these other things, then we're going to get down here to the upgrades, because that's what my focus is going to be on. Building health repair tool. I heard the repair tool actually breaks really fast now. I don't know. I haven't had to repair anything yet, so hopefully that's addressed, because repairing your weapon repairing things shouldn't be tedious. Interface, okay, I'm fine with that stuff. All right, weapon upgrades. This is going to be the big thing here. Weapons can now be upgraded to +9. 8 and 9 require new upgrade material. Damage and durability increase per level has been reduced across the board. This is probably the worst. This is one of the worst changes in this update. Upgraded weapons will now require additional resources to pair. Another bad update. So let's hop on over and take a look at the 4 different screens I put together to show how what the current things are and what the current situation is right now and how I would change it to make it more, in my opinion, more balanced. So real quick, this was the same image that was shown in my previous video, so we're not going to spend a lot of time on here. This is what the Into the Woods weapon upgrades look like right now. They added 2 levels to the bottom. They reduced the damage and durability by half, basically. So before it was 10%. It was like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. I think it went up 60, 70. It was 10% per level, and then Mighty did a little bit more, so I think Mighty went up to like 80. And then the durability was the same. The cost from levels 1 to 5 did not change. The level 6 and 7 did not change, but levels 8 and 9 did change, and they're super expensive. And then, of course, they also made it where the repair costs now require globs instead of just the shards. So that's this. Let's take a look now what I'm proposing the changes to be to make it more balanced. So here's my proposed changes. You're going to notice that there's no changes to levels 1 through 6 in terms of damage and durability. Now, I will say that I think if they actually reduced the durability of weapons, because we don't know what durability is for the weapons or armor, it's a hidden factor, so we don't actually know what it is. So if they did reduce those, I think they should put them back where they were before because they are breaking way too fast. Even on medium mode, they're breaking fast. I had some people comment in my last video, and I've seen other places, on WoW mode, apparently durability right now, it was bad before, and now it's to the point where people don't even want to play on WoW mode because I had someone say that they fought, I think, like 3 red soldier ants, and their weapon broke. Like, what? 3 red soldier ants you should be able to just slaughter, especially if you have high-end gear, and their weapon's breaking and have to repair it. So having to spend the majority of your time gathering resources to repair weapons is not fun. Nobody likes that. It's just not fun, and it's not a good feature. So my proposed changes here were going to be, number 1, the cost to upgrade is going to be much cheaper to level 5 because I'm going to let them go with the lower increase to damage and durability. But like I said, the base durability needs to be increased significantly. I don't know what that is, but it needs to be increased significantly. Instead of it costing, I think it was like 62 quartzite shards to get to level 5, it's now only going to cost, what is that, 12? It's only going to cost 30, so it's been halved. That'll allow you to get more weapons to level 5, and to me, that's fair. Because we're accepting the fact that the extra damage and durability, instead of it being plus, I think it was 50%, is now only going to be plus 25%, so it's halved. So we're having the cost to upgrade to get to the same, basically it's an even transaction there. Instead of 50% damage durability and it costing 62 shards, it's going to be 25% and cost 30 shards. 6, like I said, level 6 is not going to change. I did change the cost, though. So actually, let's go through the damage durability. After level 6, everything's going to go up by 10%. So when you reach level 10, the new level 10 will be equal to level 7 before. Excepting on the Mighty path, the second percentages there are Mighty. So the 30 is for spicy, salty, and fresh, and the 40% on level 6 is for Mighty. So if you go to the Mighty path, because you're not getting that bonus for the candy upgrades, it's going to give you 15% per level. So at level 10, you're going to have plus 70% damage and durability, just like we do now at plus level 7, or at level 7. And then for Mighty, instead of it being plus 80%, it's going to be plus 100% for damage and durability. The costs have also changed. So it's going to cost 2 globs for level 6, 4 globs for level 7, 6 globs for level 8, 8 globs for level 9, and 1 jewel for level 10. I'm going to talk about jewels in just a second. So basically, the total cost here of upgrading is going to be significantly reduced because right now it costs an excessive amount of globs and shards to get to level 9. This is going to make it more balanced and get us back to where basically it's going to, I've tried to make it where it's going to cost about the same amount of resources to get to where we were during the Hot and Hazy update. All right, so the globs, I'm making some adjustments to the globs here too, because right now globs there's 3 different costs for globs. Right now, the fresh and spicy cost 5 shards for 1 glob. That's not going to change. Salty cost 8 shards for 1 glob. I don't know why, so we're changing that to 5, so it's in line. And Mighty's going to stay the same, so it costs 10 quartzite shards, because quartzite's much easier to get, so that's not going to change. What we're basically changing is the salty, so that it's back in line with the fresh and spicy, so it's 5 shards for a glob instead of 8. A jewel is going to be different now. Right now, the jewel is basically, I think it's 2 globs plus a twinkling shell. I'm increasing the cost, so it's more globs, but it's only 1 twinkling shell. And you're only going to need it 1 for each level, or one for each weapon. It's going to be the cost to upgrade to level 10. So there's going to be an additional level. So the jewel is going to cost 10 globs. And now if you add up the cost of all the globs here, it is in line with what it is right now to get to level 7. So you're going to have the same number of globs to get there plus the twinkling shell. And for scarabs, because we want the twinkling shells to be unique, there's only going to be one spawn of a scarab per day. So I know they're hard to get now. I think getting to level 10, you should have to actually work for it and figure out the best way to kill the scarab. So you're going to have to scan for it. You're going to have to find that one scarab and kill it. If it gets away, you got to wait till the next day. The level 10 upgrade is going to allow for a choice of one augmentation. This is where I think this would add tons of replayability to the game. It will give a reason people to play because we're going to look at the augmentations. This is a system used in many other games. I think it's used in Diablo. It's a similar system used in Path of Exile. It's in ARPGs where you basically build your weapons to have specific things and allows you to customize them. So let's take a look at the augmentation ideas that I have. So as I said, here's the augmentations. These are just some examples. If you have ideas for others, feel free to share them in the comments down below. I'm sure the devs can come up with some other ideas. So a couple of the ideas that came up from augmentations is basically you put the jewel on your weapon and you can choose. You can have damage increase. You can have lifesteal. You can have higher crit chance, higher crit damage, faster attack speed, faster stamina regeneration, reduce stamina cost for attacking, add some more. You could have poison damage to it. You could have bleed effect. You could have all kinds of things like that. Anything you could, any of the possible things that are in the game right now that are status effects, you could add to it. You could have the acid attack from the bombardier beetles. You could have the pollen effect from the bees. You could have, like, all those things could be augmentations. Each weapon would only be allowed to have one augmentation at a time. And we're not going to punish you and make you have to re-level up an entire weapon. If you would like to change your augmentation using the smithing station, this would all be done through the smithing station. You could change your augmentation by using another jewel. So you're going to need to get 10 more globs and another sparkling shell, and you can change it. This would allow a couple of things. One, people can customize their weapons and have their playstyle have it fit their playstyle. If they just want to do more raw damage, they can do more raw damage. If they like to be doing if they want to use a fast attacking weapon and get lots of lifesteal, they can do that. If they want to focus on crits, they can build a crit build. If they want to just be able to swing faster, they can swing faster. If they're like me and they just want to focus on stamina, you can either pick faster stamina regen or reduce stamina cost of attacking. This gives you a long-term goal to play towards. This would let people experiment with different builds to figure out what the best build is. Like, as a community, you could basically just have everybody just trying out different. Like, you could say, I like the Salt Morningstar. You could try it with damage increase. Then you could have lifesteal on it. You just switch all these things around to figure out what fits your playstyle the best and what maybe can be used for fighting the enemies. And I just think overall these changes would make it more balanced, so it reduces the grind significantly while also giving you a long-term goal to work towards rather than just upgrading your weapons for the sake of upgrading them. So the last thing I want to touch on regarding the changes to the weapon upgrades and combat overall is going to be the repair costs. So I don't have all the repair numbers in front of me because there's just way too many weapons, tools in the game and armor that have to be repaired. So we're going to be focusing obviously on weapons here because the armors cannot be upgraded yet. But in terms of weapon repairs, they increase the cost. I do believe it costs globs to repair weapons that are level 6 and above. I'm not exactly 100% sure because I haven't had to do many repairs. I just remember when I did repair them, they were costing globs. Like I said, with so many different weapons in the game, I didn't look at all of them. But what I would like to suggest would be for the repair costs, in order to make it less grindy, would be to just keep levels 1 to 5 where it's 1 quartzite shard plus 1 bug part. That's kind of what it is now. Sometimes it's not a bug part. I think for the insect bow, it's like silk web or silk rope, whatever. So whatever it is, it's 1 quartzite shard plus 1 of the other resources that's used to craft it. Levels 1 through 5. At level 6, it would go to 1 quartzite shard plus 1 shard of whatever it is upgraded to. So if it's fresh, it's going to get 1 mint shard. If it's mighty, it's going to get a quartzite. If it's salty, it's going to get a salt. And if it's spicy, it's going to get a spicy. So if you go the mighty route, it would be 2 quartzite shards. Everything else would be 1 quartzite shard plus 1 of the others. And then as you can see, it will progressively go up to where at level 10, it would cost 5 quartzite shards plus 5 of whatever the other shard is, in order to whatever choice you went. So again, mint, quartzite, salt, or spicy. I think this is more fair. It is still going to require us to use resources, so it wouldn't eliminate the need to go farming resources, but it would be a far better way of repairing our weapons. Even with better durability, I still think this is needed, and certainly with the current durability situation, this is needed because otherwise you're going to spend way too much time walking around or farming resources just to repair your weapons. And I don't, like I said many times, I don't think anybody wants to spend all their time farming resources. Much rather just be playing the game and gathering resources along the way. So those are my thoughts on the combat. I mean, obviously, I would like to see the bugs have unique attack sets. Like a lot of the new bugs, they just feel similar to the old ones, and it's like to me, like to a lot of people, and I know it's not as simple as hitting a copy paste. A lot of people have commented because they're not developers and they've never worked with developers. they feel like the game, they just copied and pasted a lot, and this update didn't really have much. In my opinion, this update probably needed another month or two before it should have been released. It feels really shallow right now, and a common sentiment is that the reason they added all these new bugs, it was probably to fill up the area to make it look like there was more, and to make it feel like there were, like, if there was only 3 or 4 new bugs and that was it, it would feel even less populated, and it would feel like less was added to it. I almost feel like this update was rushed, that it almost feels like this public test server was rushed, and that it needed at least another month, maybe 2, before it should have been released. So let's quickly get through the rest of this to round it all out. So we got doors, okay, whatever. Building placement, fine with the building placement. Spinning wheel and grinder, I like the updates to those. So the spinning wheel, you can now place stuff on the spinning wheel, and I believe the grinder from your chests or inventory. Like, you don't have to have them in your inventory. I like that. You can they actually have, the spinning wheel has an additional slot, which I like. So that's pretty cool. The grinder lets you make plant fiber. So I guess if you're trying to make rope, I'm perfectly fine with that. Didn't really make much of a difference to me, but you can now turn lots of things into plant fiber to make rope. That's pretty cool. And then anything else in here that's important? Creatures will stop clumping into certain areas. Did not test that out. I do want to go look around and see if the red ants are just like clustered everywhere. Other than that, I don't think there's much else in here. So they did change some things they did add some things. They did put 2 patches out after this initial patch. So overall, I guess my final thoughts are, as of right now, first of all, like I said, I love the fact that they updated the new area. I think one problem is that when they were doing teasers for it, there was an expectation that the shed was going to get itself updated. They have not said anything about whether or not the shed's going to get updated, or if it's just going to be like the house and it's just there, and it's just a landmark that you can't get through. So I think leading up to this, the expectation was that that entire upper area was going to be updated, as well as the shed. You were going to be able to either go under the shed or in the shed. And I think I don't know if I talked about this in my last video or one of my streams, but like, the shed could be a huge area. Like that's a huge area, and maybe that's why they've held off on it. But I think they should temper expectations by just telling us what they're working on. I don't like, just have a roadmap and just say, here's what we're working on, and this is what you can expect, so that people don't come in and get disappointed, because the work they did, a lot of it was fantastic. And I think that's being overshadowed by the negative stuff, like the combat changes, the weapon upgrade changes, which are just super turning people off. And I hate to see the fact that a lot of people have said, this is just making me not want to play the game, or I'm just going to wait till it's full release and they work all the bugs out. Like, that just makes me sad, because this is a great game, and I don't want people to walk away from it. But at the same time, I'm kind of feeling the same way, where I just don't feel motivated. Like, usually after a public test server, I just sit there and play it and play it as much as I can whenever I have time to. And right now, I'm just kind of like done. I did everything. Don't really have much to do. If they add stuff, I'll go check it out. And of course, I'll still make some like tutorial videos and stuff like that, like over the next couple weeks and after it releases, just to cover everything. But if someone said to me, should I come back right now and play? I took a month or 2 off. I'd be like, no, just wait till the next update, because there's really not much. This update just feels like it took them 3 months to put out much, much less than they did with the previous update. And it might be the fact that the Hot and Hazy update spoiled us. The Hot and Hazy update added tons of content. This update feels like it has about a quarter of the content, and it has a lot of filler, like extra bugs that don't really do anything. And also, I was kind of disappointed. Maybe this is going to get added before the official release comes out. The sandbox lab didn't get touched, and you still can't get under the sandcastle. Hopefully that gets updated soon, because I was really expecting that. Like, the sandbox, none of the old areas really felt like they got not much done to them. It was all the new area, and I really like the new area. But anyway, those are my thoughts. I'm going to stop rambling. I know I've been talking for way too long on this, but hopefully my suggestions can be taken into consideration. I'm not saying they're perfect, but I think I'm just trying to give ideas. Instead of just complaining and saying I don't like something, I hate it, change it. I'm just trying to give constructive feedback and provide ideas of how I would change it and how I think it'll be more fair. So let me know what you think. Do you agree with the suggestions I had for changing the weapon upgrades and how much it costs and what they do? Do you like the idea of augmentations? Would you be interested in that? Would it give you something to work for? All the other things I talk about, let me know in the comments down below. If you have any other suggestions, leave those down there as well. And I do encourage everyone to go over to the Grounded Discord. I'll leave a link for that down in the description in case you're not sure what it is. So you can head on over to the feedback page for the public test server and leave your feedback, positive and negative. Just leave your feedback, be as detailed as possible, because they are changing things, and I do expect them to change things over the next week or 2 before the full release updates. So anyway, if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit the like button and consider subscribing for more videos like this. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.